We're taking a look at the fantasy sleepers and busts at each position here at Pro Football Weekly. Right now we're going to look at some wide receiver busts. Maybe avoid these guys in the draft. And one guy, Eric, who's been drafted high year after year, Marcus Colston, but maybe not this year.
Yeah, I think the Saints wide receiver core is one of the best in the league in terms of their depth. Guys like Lance Moore back in the picture. I think Jimmy Graham at tight end is going to attract a little bit more attention. And Colston, injuries have been a problem throughout his career. I think his numbers could take a little bit of a dip despite that great passing offense.
Yeah, he's in a good offense, but there's other guys to throw the ball to. Hines Ward, in another situation where the Steelers have a fair amount of wide receivers to throw to. Mike Wallace had a great season last year. Ward getting up there in age. Probably not going to get a whole lot of fantasy value out of him at this point in his career.
I always thought he was one of these guys who was criminally underdrafted year in and year out. This may be the year where his value is right on or even a little lower. Like you said, I think they want to get the ball into the young receivers' hands. Guys like Sanders and Antonio Brown. They just brought Crabtree into the mix. He's still got a good tight end. You're right. I think this is where we started to see the decline in his numbers.
And with free agency, some guys saw their values drop. One of those guys, Mike Williams out in Seattle, who was the #1 guy, kind of rejuvenated his career with Pete Carroll. And then Seattle goes out and gets Sidney Rice, who's going to obviously be the #1 guy out there. And Mike Williams, you might not want to draft him very high this season.
Or certainly not compare him to the #1 receivers around the league. I think Rice is going to be the guy there despite the extra attention. I think they always viewed Williams as the #2 option.
Michael Crabtree, not just a fantasy bust. I mean, this guy so far has not lived up to his draft pick in San Francisco. There's some questions at quarterback still. And again, he might be the #1 receiver technically in San Francisco, but he's never really been a guy that you want to draft that high, even though you think maybe this is the year.
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise, it's all there, but you have to start with the quarterback position, too. I mean, obviously, they're bringing in Dante Culpepper for a look. Alex Smith has proven in year out. He's just an average quarterback or below, maybe. Colin Kaepernick not ready. I don't like Crabtree's injury status. I don't like his status on the team. I don't think he's a great fantasy pick. Now, one more name I want to throw out there, Kevin, is Percy Harvin. I think he's a tremendous player and a guy with a great future. I just don't think he's going to be a fantasy #1 wide receiver. So it's a great case of a terrific player, just maybe not in the best situation.
He does have those games where he'll hit a home run and he'll have big fantasy games for you, but you can't fall in love with that. For all the videos of the fantasy busts and sleepers to help you get ready for your fantasy football draft, stick here to ProFootballWeekly.com.